Hi guys, Kelly here with the follow-up for the breast implant removal and explant surgery, which happened now 2 weeks and 2 days ago. At the end of my last video, I asked for you guys to leave comments or questions that you wanted me to address that I didn't touch on in the first video. For those of you who did, thank you so much. So I'm not just sitting here and making up what I think is interesting to you guys. So the questions that I did get had a lot more to do with the technical aspects of the surgery itself and the decision-making process behind it. One question specifically was, why did you decide to explant? And when I saw that question, I was like, way to hide the lead, Kelly. I don't know if I mentioned this stuff in the first video or not, so I'm just going to go through the quick technical specifications, if you will. I had my implants put in at the end of July 2016. They were 300cc under the muscle silicone implants. After that, the truth is I just never really got used to them. I didn't get used to how they felt. Really the highlight of having the implants for me was just how I thought I looked in certain items of clothing. It was a lot easier to shop for clothing. I feel like most standard clothing sizes and measurements they're sized under the assumption that every woman has an hourglass figure, and if your waist is larger, your boobs are larger. If your waist is smaller, your boobs are smaller. And there were just certain things like bikinis and fitted dresses and stuff that I always really struggled to fill out. So that was really nice. But I never got used to how they felt, almost to the point where I found them physically uncomfortable. I'm very, very active. I work out a lot. If you've seen some of my videos, you know the kinds of workouts that I do, so I won't go into that. But I just noticed that even after the muscle was healed and I was able to return to physical activity, it wasn't as comfortable. I stayed away from all exercises that my surgeon told me to avoid, which is really anything that's a chest isolation exercise, push-ups, dumbbell flies, that sort of thing. But even when I was doing things like burpees or even more noticeable back exercises, chin-ups, pull-ups, lat pull-downs, the chest muscles are a synergist in that movement. Basically, they're just helper muscles. Think of them that way if you're not familiar with the terminology. Every time my chest muscles engaged, I could feel the pec pushing the implant down and out. And I've heard horror stories of fitness-minded women who have blown out a side pocket, which I don't technically know what it means medically, but I think it basically means that it like bursts, like the muscle detaches on the side from the pressure of the implant pushing. So all of that is just to say that I never really returned to my full level of physical activity after I had the implants in, because I was so freaked out about that happening. The surgery to have that repaired is astronomically expensive. That just wasn't anything I wanted to deal with. Additionally, just regular physical discomfort. So this is probably good to know even if you're not a person who's really into exercising, but you're considering implants. Mine remained uncomfortable for the entire period of time that I had them. So early last fall, I was experiencing not outright pain, but very obvious discomfort on the lateral sides of my breasts. Once so badly that I woke up in the middle of the night with almost like a throbbing pain. And so I scheduled an appointment with my original surgeon, and I went back and I told him what I was experiencing. I was ready to talk to him about my options. And basically what he said to me is, you can have two people who break their leg in the same way, same fracture, same everything. One person is going to heal and be completely fine. One person's going to heal, but they might have pain in that leg every time it's cold for the rest of their life. It's just how your body responds. And that was basically his way of saying that my body wasn't responding to the implants in quite the way that we would have expected. And his next step was to start throwing some different prescription drugs at the problem. He talked about muscle relaxers, anti-anxiety medications that have a side effect of muscle relaxation or nerve desensitization so that I wouldn't be as bothered. But to me, I felt like I put something foreign into my body that is causing these problems, and to put something else foreign into my body to fix those symptoms just didn't sit well with me. So since he was kind of resistant when I started mentioning explant surgery, I went and I found another surgeon who I felt a lot more comfortable with having that conversation. Reason number 3, and this kind of goes along with the discomfort, but it's also just a little bit more personal. One of the warnings that they give you when you have an implant surgery is that you might either lose nipple sensation altogether or have really hypersensitive nerve reactions. And I experienced both. One of the things that I was told by my new surgeon who ended up performing the implant removal surgery was to think of your nerves like wet spaghetti noodles. And I have some props here. I'm going to try to demonstrate for you guys what she explained to me using a rubber band, a sports bra implant, and a myofascial release ball. But if you think of this as like your chest muscle, okay, this is like your chest muscle, and if the rubber band are your nerves or representative of your nerves in this situation, what you normally have going on inside your body is just your nerves all over the place, resting over top of your muscles. But what happens when you put an implant under the muscle, and again, this is just for a visual, do you see how much more stretched that nerve is now? So basically what's happening is you've stretched the nerve like this rubber band. It's not able to send signals as easily. So that's where a lot of the lost sensation comes from, either that or just permanent nerve damage. And I read that it can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months for nerve damage to heal. So I wanted to give it as much time as possible to see if sensations returned to normal, and they did not. So that was my third big reason for wanting the implants taken out. 2 weeks in, I'm still wrapped in the compression bands like 12 hours a day, so I can't really report back yet on whether or not the implant removal has fixed that problem. But the overall relief that I feel in this part of my body is just insane. Absolutely insane. So I hope that gives a little bit more perspective on why I decided to explant and why I waited as long as I did to do that. Next question, someone is about to have this surgery and I was asked, did you do full capsules removal or just the implants? Because my surgeon said I do not need to remove the capsules. So that's a good question. If you haven't already, I would check out realself.com. You have to give them your email address and sign up for an account, but it's completely free. And it gives you access to surgeons' responses to questions like this and experiences of other women. I just scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled until I found other women who were like roughly my size, had implants that were roughly the size that mine were, who were in my age group. My surgeon did not remove the capsules. I did not have a capsulectomy. I did not have drains after the surgery. So just to walk you through how my surgery went, I was actually alarmed by how easy she was going to make it sound. So I did not have a capsulectomy. I did not have drains. My surgery was actually performed under local anesthesia only. So they did not knock me out. They did prescribe me some really heavy sedatives, which I took about 2 hours before the surgery, and then my husband drove me to the surgical center. I was completely out of it, very sleepy in like a underwater dream state. I wasn't really that aware of what was going on. And the purpose of that is just because even though you're locally numbed here, your body can kind of tell it something is happening, and it's very, very odd. So all I was able to feel was when they made the incision and when they were removing the implant, it was just kind of like a tugging sensation. The way that my surgeon put it is, she's like, it's like having a baby. It's really wet and you're pulling a large thing out of a small hole. I didn't feel any of that except for the tugging. And like I said, there were no drains and no capsulectomy. They just removed the implants. They put in some sutures, which didn't need to be removed a week later. They were the kind that dissolve. They covered the incision sites with steri strips, and they wrapped me up in an ace bandage and covered that with a compression bra. That is what I wore for the first week. At the 1 week post-op, they removed the steri strips, and as you saw in my last video, those started healing really, really well. So if your doctor has said that you don't need a capsulectomy, but if you're not comfortable with that, go and seek second, third, and fourth opinions until you find a surgeon who tells you something that you believe and that you are comfortable with, because I wish that I had done that when I had my implant surgery, because if I had, I don't know if I would have gone through with the surgery. So those were the big questions that you guys left for me. Somebody else did leave a comment and say that she also had it done and that it was the best decision she ever made. She felt it was super easy. You guys, she's not wrong. I feel so much better, so much lighter. I didn't have any symptoms of what I would associate with breast implant illness, which is not to say that that doesn't exist. That just wasn't a reason for my decision. But the lightness that I feel, the emotional well-being that has returned to me in the 2 weeks since I've gotten them removed has blown my mind. The recovery has been great. As you saw, I did try that workout at 1 week post-op, and that was okay, but I did experience some soreness the next day. It basically just feels like somebody punched me all along my rib cage right around where the incisions are. So I took it a lot easier this past week in the second week post-op. I had one slip up where the big thing is you can't really like push like that, like put your weight on your hands and push yourself. And there was a time where, since you feel pretty much fine the rest of the time. I wasn't thinking, and I did put my hand down to scoop myself, and I felt a really sharp pull here. So I started wrapping the ACE bandage around myself more than I was told that I needed to, because I felt like I kind of needed to give this side a little bit of a boost to get back to the level of healing that it was at before that slip up. But otherwise, it has been a very easy surgery. I am super, super grateful that I didn't need to have the drains or the capsulectomy or anything like that, but go with what your surgeon advises. I can't stress that enough. Find a surgeon that you're comfortable with and whose advice makes sense to you. So I hope that that provided some more insight. I kind of talk about this on a more daily basis on my Instagram stories. So if you're not following me yet over there, go ahead and get on that. If you have more questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, leave me a comment here. And I don't know if I'm going to do another full sit-down discussion about this process at this point, but maybe at 6 weeks after everything is fully healed, I will let you guys know how quickly I'm able to get back to my regular workouts and physical fitness. So thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you guys for the questions that you left. Very much appreciated, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.